Yo, what's up, everyone? Good morning, Dan the Glassman here. So, I don't know if you're going to be able to read or see any of this. Oh, yeah, check it out. There we go. All right. So, if I do zoom in, you will be able to see what I'm talking about. All right. So, what's going on, everyone? Dan the Glassman here, and you're watching the Glassman's World. So, today, I wanted to share a little bit behind the scenes experiences with working on film sets and basically working in film for the last 20 years, I guess. So before we get started, I wanted to just bring up my channel here on the Glassman's World on YouTube. So anytime that you go to my channel here, you just click on the Glassman's channel. So we'll just go here, right? Click on the channel. And bam, there's the Glassman's World right there. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving a like. Be sure to subscribe so you can get all the notifications on all the stories and experiences that I'll be bringing to you. So the other day, I was on someone's you know who it was actually? I can remember it was on a Cinema Shogun here. What's going on? It's Cinema Shogun here. And so that guy, he cracks me up. He's got some really cool stories and information and lots of things like that. But one thing that he was talking about the other day was he was talking about the whole story with Jamie Foxx and how Jamie Foxx he got he got duped, or he got forced into getting the experimental jab, right? And when that happened, um, he ended up having a medical issue, and something occurred. I don't know exactly what occurred or what happened. I wish I could make that less bright, but I guess that's what it's gonna be, huh? Maybe if I made the room brighter, but then that'll bring too much light and reflection and stuff. So we're just gonna do it like this. Cinema Shogun's video, he was talking about Jamie Foxx and all these things, and how the possibility that he was forced into getting the jab in order to be on set and to work. And so on my comments, I confirmed that. I was like, yeah, 3 years ago, I pretty much quit working on set because of that. I didn't want to jump in line with this whole experiment. I didn't want to be part of the guinea pigs club, and join in with everyone and let's just see what might happen. Let's just trust the government like we all do, right? We all trust them 100%, right? And let's just entrust our lives with them and let them tell us what to do, right? 80% of the world's population. So some of us decided, yo, not worth it. Not my life is not worth it. I'll just quit working. Luckily, thankfully, I blow glass. That's the beauty of it. Is working for myself since 1995, right out of high school. I've been blowing glass as an artist, and that's afforded me the time, the freedom to be able to do these sort of things and be able to get onto film sets, and giving me the all the time that I would love and need to be with my family every day. Like just being able to blow glass and be here. It gives me the opportunity to do other side jobs and just experience life in all these different ways. Like, the question came up the other day on what do you want to be when you grow up? And I've been trying to teach everyone and teaching my children, it's not about what you want to be when you grow up, because we're always growing. I'm not grown still. I'm 40 some years old and I'm still not grown, but I'm still continuously growing. And so the question should be, what do you want to be while you're growing up, right? And so part of that is, I like to be an actor, background actor, be a featured extra or featured background extra. be a stand-in, you know, or you work as a stand-in where you're working doing the stuff that the celebrities would be doing once they start filming, and you just kind of stand in their place and let them put the lighting on you and everything. They don't want to hire the actors to just stand around all day while they're setting up all their stuff. You know, the actors are chilling in their wagons or wherever they're at the hotel or wherever. You know, they may not even be on set until it's time for them to be on set. And so for hours and hours, you know, the whole entire crew is setting up and doing these things. So, you know, being able to have this lifestyle of blowing glass, being an artist, being a musician, being able to be an actor, an extra, background actor, be a stand-in, a featured extra, all these things, you know, it's been really cool. I've never had my own, um, I've never had a speaking line in film. That's one thing that I would love to do. So, uh, as many of you know, I'm a glass artist. I'm a musician. I've been doing that for a really long time, since 1995. In around 99, I traveled to California, which is my home state, my birth state. I was born in Pomona, California, in the LA County, and I moved to New Mexico, to Albuquerque, in about '88 when I was in seventh grade. And so I went back to go visit some family, go see some friends, go make some glass blowing connections with a female named Nancy. Oh, what's her last name? Nancy Lopez. And Nancy Lopez owned Moon Maiden Glass Studio. And you know, as a funny thing about that, she made a she made a flyer of some sort or some kind of thing, and it said Moon Maiden and then Glass Studio, right? But the moon got cut off and glass, so the M-O in moon got cut off, and the G-L in glass got cut off. So it said on Maiden as studio. I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Those kind of weird memories and stuff. But so I went out there and blew glass in '99, and and while I was out there, I was you know, I went to go and deliver some hand blown glass to her to help her do her grand opening, to do this whole setup and everything. And in that time, we were working in this place called the Pomona Arts Colony on Second Street, just off of Gary Avenue, right there in the heart of Pomona, Pomona, California. And the Second Street Arts Colony, this individual, apparently he had a medical mishap, and he sued the hospital and won and became a millionaire, or whatever he became. And he invested that money into this block that was a dilapidated place, a section of Pomona, and these buildings were just falling down, you know. And so he remodeled and rebuilt this whole entire block there. And in doing so, you know, it brought things back, like the Glass House, a real famous place for music and concerts. The Glass House is there. The Fox Theater, the historic Fox Theater, right there. They would do concerts. I think it was like every second Saturday of the month. They would do like a concert series and stuff like that. And a lot of films were also once they started building all that up. A lot of films, a lot of movie crews came in, because a lot of the buildings were still vacant, even though he was building up everything around there. So he had retail spaces with lofts in the background, in the back, so you could live and work there. It was beautiful. I loved the setup of it. My friend Nancy at the time, I think she was only paying like $900 a month for this work live space, and she did stained glass and glass blowing. She did lamp working as well. And so in that time, while we were there, I got to be part of my very first experience in filming a commercial, and the commercial was for the Second Street Pomona Arts Colony. And so I don't know if that's even out there. I don't know if we could ever find it. I've looked and looked, and I've never seen the portion that I filmed. But I was making this huge. It was like a like a pyramid. It had like a piece of glass bent this way, and then it had another piece of glass like that. So it had four pieces coming off in a triangle, and it was going to be hanging from the ceiling. It was going to be like this chandelier, and on the ends we're going to hang some other pieces. And so I was making this big old thing just to make it look huge for the filming of it all. And we did live demonstrations in the window there. A lot of people just come around. I had the biggest live demos ever where, people were like right here, like on my shoulder. I'm like trying to blow glass and I'm bumping into people, completely surrounded. 50 people behind me, 50 people in the window in front of me. And at Moon Made in Glass Studio with Nancy, that was my first experience ever working on film, working on a commercial. And basically it was a promo for the Second Street Arts Colony, and we were promoting Moon Made in Glass Studio and glass blowing and live glass blowing and stuff like that. And it was really cool. And in that same time that I was there, so I was only going to stay for 2 weeks, and I ended up staying for 2 months. And in that time that I was there, I ended up getting invited to be part of another film. And this was supposedly one of the very first films to ever be made for the internet. So this is, we're talking about 1999, right? The internet, we barely had come to us in the 90s, right? Like with the whole AOL and You've Got Mail and, all that stuff. You'd hear that like dialing. You'd have the computer dialing up for the signal and everything before you'd even get like to some load up screen or whatever, so then you could figure out what you're gonna look for. You just check your AOL mail, right? You've got mail. So back in those days in the 90s, the internet was just barely popping. And in 1999, there were individuals who were already looking into the future, filming movies, and specifically for the internet. So this movie that they were filming was called Fear of a Punk Rock Planet. I don't know if that title stuck with it. I've never been able to find this film. But we were invited, me and my child at the time, who was only like, I would guess about, let's see, in 99, my child, so about 3-4 years old, right? So in 99, my child was about 3 years old, 4 years old. We got invited to be a part of this internet film, the very first internet film. And they wanted us to show up in the morning so I could basically walk her in the stroller in front. Like, we were just going to be background, and I was just going to walk her, and they were going to film this scene, and we were going to be in the background. I was going to be pushing her in the stroller. It was going to be real simple. They were filming in our friend Kayla and Usin's shop, which was what was their shop called? Their shop was really cool, Funky Things. And Funky Things was like a resale. She did fashion, so she had her own studio in the back where she did clothing and all this stuff and fashion. And she would buy like vintage clothes and thrift clothes, and then she would like upscale them. And so they were filming in there, and that was really cool to see the internet and stuff like that. And then in like all in that same instance, so the first experience in the commercial, then doing the internet filming, we actually didn't make it in that scene. I showed up and they're like, oh, sorry, we already filmed the scene that we were wanting you in. And we showed up on time, but they just had decided to film it. They had the time and they decided to capture it and film what they needed to. So we didn't make it into Fear of a Punk Rock Planet, but there might be a film out there. Filmed in the Pomona Arts Colony, in front of Funky Things and in front of Moon Made in Glass Studio. And then maybe within that week or that month, I don't know, it was like so many things were going on. It was such a fun time and busy. I was actually going to move out there to California in 99 before the whole Y2K thing happened. And I was going to bring in the new year in California. I was going to actually move back out here, or get back out here to Albuquerque, sell everything, which I did. I sold it all And then I went to go stay with my friend to blow glass and make some money to make the trip happen. And it never happened. And I ended up meeting someone and got involved in relationship and ended up staying here in California, or in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Sorry. And so I never made it back to California really. But in that time, there was another film uh, that they were working on, and they brought in some people. And also, this is the arts colony. We're in California. There was an actor who came through, and they were looking at locations and stuff on filming and things like that. And they were looking at our friend Kayla and Usin's shop Funky Things, and they were wanting to film in there. And I remember we got to meet this guy who, I think he was like the mansion owner in the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey. I think he was, or not. No, no, no. Um, oh, what's that one? Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And I believe this rich man, he owned a mansion. That actor, we got to meet him, and they were doing some filming and stuff. We found out that they ended up filming Cat in the Hat there eventually when they go into town and the town scene, and everything's like wrapped up in the red and white striped candy cane looking stuff, and all the whole entire area they completely decorated it for the set wardrobe, where they basically built it to look like it was part of a Cat in the Hat. And then some other movies were filmed there with Sally Fields, not Sally Field. Her name is Sally Fields, and some other individuals. I forget who. Also, there was a building called the Vault, where a lot of very famous bands, very well-known bands, touring bands, were also there. So that's the beginning of my film experience. Was going to California in 1999 and getting that little bit of a bug, that little bite, that little taste. And so, a few years later go by. Like I said, I moved back to Albuquerque, tried to sell everything so I could move to California, and that didn't work. That didn't happen. What ended up happening was that, I stuck around and got in relationships, and um, I'm trying to remember specifically. I think it was about 2002, 2004, somewhere around there. My child was in second grade, I believe. So let's see, what would second grade be? You start kindergarten when you're 5. So like about 7, 8 years old. My child was about 7 or 8 years old. So yeah, that would be 2002. She was going to a school called Bandelier Elementary School here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they sent home these permission slips, which basically was asking permission if you would like your child, your student, to be eligible to be removed from class if they were requested to do filming. That they were going to use their school, Bandelier Elementary School, as a location for a pretty good size, pretty big budget film. And this film at the time was filmed as Doubting Thomas, and it had a bunch of different celebrities in there. And so, of course, I was like, yeah, you want to do this? Let's get you in film and experience film. We wanted to do this in California, and I wasn't able to get you in that one scene. But, yeah, let's do this. You're in second grade. I can get you out of class. And so, in doing so, the permission slip also required us parents to be there to supervise our children if they were going to be out of class and on set, and we would have to be there. So I was like, all right, cool. That, being a glass blower, that affords me to do these things, right? So they were filming several scenes in the school, and the movie now is called, it's either called Spy Kids or it might be under Doubting Thomas. And because they'll release films in the U.S., like, you know, the American version, but then they'll have films in the foreign countries where they'll release it in a whole different way, and they'll have a whole different you know, like the editing. The beginning of the film is completely different. The opening of it is different from the U.S. version compared to like the European version. But then in essence, it's the same film. Maybe there's a couple different cuts and edits that are a little bit different, which is why maybe sometimes we remember some movies as one way, and then yet the whole Mandela effect has it changed as another way, because there's been different edits and different ways that it's been released. And you know, maybe they've just removed some of those ones that we remember, and now they're saying that they never existed. So with this whole film, Doubting Thomas, or Spy Kids. Is it Spy Kids or Spy School? Not Spy Kids. Spy Kids was that other movie. It might be Spy School. There was this redhead kid who was the main actor. I forget his name. The girl who plays Violet in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the newer one. I forget her name too. We can pull it up. You know, I could actually pull up the IMDb account right here, and we could actually check to see on that movie, Doubting Thomas. So let me pull that up, and I can show you exactly. Oh, yeah, the mouse moved. Sorry about that. Give me a second. All right, so there it is. So let's bring you in here. So this is a Spy School here, with Forrest Landis and Anna Sophia Robb. So also it was starring. So this is it here, filmed in or released in 2008. So like I said, this was filmed in what, 2002. It's an hour and 26 minutes long. So yeah, this is the movie here. Here, let me zoom out a little bit for you so you can see that better. So this is that movie here, Spy School, or also known as Doubting Thomas, with Forrest Landis, and see, and then they got different ones. See, the Dubitando de Thomas, Bougie is spy. So you see, they come out with all these different. Oh, you can't even see how that looks, huh? Maybe if I zoom in a little bit better. There you go. You see that? Dubitando de Thomas, Bougie is spy. Bougie is spy. So I think that's in France or French, and yeah, it's even got a. So here's some of the trailer here, and a couple different individuals that you may recognize. Ryder Strong, D.L. Hughley. So D.L. Hughley was there. Basically, this movie was it was based upon him always being, you know, a doubting Thomas, a liar, right? Always lying and lying, and then he overhears something going on with the president's daughter, and they're going to kidnap her, and he goes to tell people, and they don't believe him. So then he has to save the day, and you know, it's this crazy movie. Good movie for kids. So my daughter actually is seen in a couple of these scenes here, in the cafeteria scene, and a couple things, which is, it's really awesome to be able to go back and watch these movies and see how, you know, forever, this movie will always have my child as like a, you know, as a young second grader. So yeah, that's Spy School there with Forrest Landis, and I don't know if there's other. That's interesting. Is that the only? Let me see if there's any the stars. Yeah, so then it'll tell you like who all the different stars are. Maybe it'll show. Oh, it's not responding. So this film, my child got to be in probably like 3 or 4 different scenes, and you can actually see my child in it, and really recognize my child in it. It's really cool to be able to have these stories and to be able to share these stories with our children, with our family, our friends, and everything like that. And so it was directed by Mark Blutman. Um, Starring Forrest Landis, Anna Sophia Robb, Ryder Strong, Leah Thompson, who we all know from Back to the Future, D.L. Hughley, Robert Bart, Timmy Dieters. There's so many individuals here. Ryan Sheckler is in here. Yeah. And even there was an individual who got picked up in here. Taylor Gilster, who was Mrs. Gilster's son. Taylor Gilster was actually picked up and became the character Bickelman. So Taylor Gilster was actually a student at Bandelier Elementary and got picked up as Bickelman and became a celebrity because of that. So it's really cool. I'm trying to see if there's any photos or anything. This is all the credits on it. I think it was Doubting Thomas was the official release. Okay, so this was the first film that my child was in, right? Doubting Thomas. But this film also was the first film that I got to be a part of. Main film. I've already done the commercials and a couple things, but this film, Doubting Thomas, in one of the scenes while they were filming, they had the kids running out. There was an explosion. There was a scientific something happened, right? Where Thomas he'd done something wrong and he mixed some things and he created a lab experiment gone wrong, and the kids had to get escorted out the building. They just ran out, right? So in this scene, while they're filming it, one of the crew members on set, he walks up to me. He's like, "Excuse me, sir. Are you doing anything right now?" I'm like, "Well, I'm just on set to watch, to supervise for my kids. My kids in the scene right here." He's like, "Oh, well, would you like to work today?" I'm all, "Sure." Yeah, he's all, "Come with me." I'm like, "Okay." So I follow him into this doorway where the doorway leads us downstairs in the school, where it's a spot I've never seen in the school. It's kind of like a janitor's closet or the PE closet, actually, where they have all the balls, all the sports equipment, and all these things locked up in these like metal lockers, metal cages and things. And so they led me downstairs, and the film crew's all working on all these things. They got people on ladders. They're setting up all these cables, all this lighting, all this different stuff, right? And I had no idea what I was going to be doing. And like, okay, well, we just need you just for a moment here. Just stand right here. In about 15 or 20 minutes, they'll ask you to come over here. And I'm like, okay. So I'm just, patiently waiting. And they're like, all right, sir, come on over. We're ready for you. So I walk over and they're like, hey, can you stand on this X? And there's like an X that's got, they got gaffing tape on the floor, like black electrical tape, basically. It's just a black mark, an X, that they want me to stand in, right? That's the place marker for the actors. So when they come walk in, they walk onto their mark, and that's where they start setting up the lighting on me. So I just stand there for a few minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. I'm standing there. They're setting lighting. They're putting their gels into the lights to make different filters and different kind of effects with the lighting and the atmosphere and everything. And then they're like, okay, we're done. We're good. And as I'm standing there, then they call in the I think they're like the primaries or the main actors, right? And in walks in D.L. Hughley and Ryder, what's his name? Ryder Strong, and Ryder Strong. And so D.L. Hughley and Ryder Strong come in. Apparently, they're going to be in this scene that I'm just being a stand-in for. And at the time, my hair is really long and straight, right? But at the time, my hair was pretty much, my head was shaved. And when my head is shaved, my hair, it just grows straight up. It just becomes spiky. So my hair was actually like, really spiky. And apparently I'm dark complexion, like almost the same darkness as D.L. Hughley with spiky hair. He's got those little tiny dreadlocks that come up, right? So I've got this like Mexican spiky hair with a dark complexion, and he walks in and he's all, damn, is this the closest you can get to finding a brother out here? And I'll never forget that. And that was just the funniest thing. And then he goes, he's like, hey, how you doing? And he shakes my hand, and I shake his hand, and it's like, wow, good to meet you. And I shake Ryder Strong's hand, and that was it. And I got to meet them. Then they asked me to step away, and then the actors stepped in, and then they made sure that the lighting was good for them, and then they walked out, and that was it. And then I walked upstairs. They told me to sign some papers and this and that, and I got paid a full day's work for about 15-20 minutes of just standing in for D.L. Hughley. So that was my first and only experience as a stand-in, and I didn't know what a stand-in was or how much they got paid, or else I could have actually probably got a bigger bump and gotten paid more, but I didn't know I wasn't experienced. So they paid me what they did. They paid me the full 8-hour day as just being a background actor, and I didn't even have to work all day, and that was really cool. And also, in between scenes and takes, we'd get to go hang out in the tent with all the other extras and everyone, and then they'd feed you. They'd have all these different snacks out on the table and all this like cocoa and coffee and all these things. And we were there for some late night scenes. I remember we'd be there past, so late, and they would be saying, we're not supposed to keep your kids longer than 6 hours or whatever, but as parents, you can choose to remain here on set if you'd like to. We'd love to have you here. And so we did a lot of those late night set scenes where a lot of the individuals, they went home and they were there for way too long, but we stayed. And at night it got cold, and I remember that's where I got addicted to coffee for the first and only time in my life. But I would start mixing it with cocoa packets, so I would be drinking coffee and cocoa. And then I ended up just drinking cocoa, and then I got this crazy addiction on set with cocoa, and now I got this crazy cocoa addiction from working on set and film. So well, I don't even know what this movie is. This is something completely different. This is not. Well, that is not that film. Well, that is not Spy School. Yeah, so that was my first experience, and that was really cool. There was one time when we were filming in the dance scene in the gym, and Anna Sophia Robb was down there, and she was around the same age as my child, about second grade or so, and maybe she was a little bit older. And I remember she was just down there, like kind of bouncing a ball off a wall by herself, and she looked bored. She didn't look bored. And so I was telling my daughter, I was like, "Why don't you go down there and go hang out, go introduce yourself, and go play with her with the ball." And my child got so like she was nervous and embarrassed, and she didn't go. I was like, man, I would go. I've also, oh yeah, on that set. So we were doing another set at the evening time when they were filming entering into the school. I think that's when after the action was happening, and I think guns were drawn or things like that, and people were running, escaping out again. And at that point, I was sitting underneath this warmer. Right, they had those propane heaters, and I was sitting there next to the warmer, and there was a chair right there, director's chair. And next thing you know, one of the actresses come over, and it just happens to be Leah Thompson, who is here. Let me see if I can pull her up. But everyone, those who grew up in the '80s, who know Back to the Future, definitely know Leah Thompson. I mean, many of us grew up with being infatuated with her. you know, remembering her from like Howard the Duck and stuff. And so, she came over to sit in that director's chair. And, being the glass man, I'm always wearing some sort of glass, right? And I was wearing a really nice pendant that night. So apparently maybe well, I guess I wasn't in the film scene or whatever. So maybe my glass wasn't ever made it. But, she came over and she noticed my pendant on, and she was like, "Oh, that's a really nice necklace." And I was like, "Thank you, I made it." And she's like, "Wow, you made that?" I was like, "Yeah, I've been blowing glass since whatever." At that point, it was like for 9 years, 10 years, or whatever. 2002. That would actually be only 7 years. So 6 or 7 years, barely baby at that point. And so we started talking. I got to actually have a personal conversation with Leah Thompson, and just to feel how genuine she really was as a person, as an individual. And that gave me the I guess the knowledge of just knowing that some celebrities are actually approachable, and you can have just real conversations with them. So I thank you, Leah, for just having a real honest and down to earth conversation with me, and talking about my glass, and giving me appreciation of liking something that I created and made. I probably should have gifted it to you, but at that time, the glass to me was really special. Nowadays, I'm just like, oh yeah, I made that. Here, go on ahead, take it. You love it? Here, just give things away all the time. Which if you're watching this video right now and you've made it through this long, go on ahead and comment down below, "I love glass," and that way I know that you've made it through this far. And those of you who comment, "I love glass," I'm going to enter you in to some sort of a free giveaway, some sort of a drawing. So go on ahead and comment that below. And yeah, that'd be fun. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start doing a lot of glass giveaways and things like that, and giving out CDs, of my music and stuff. And also t-shirts. I don't even do this yet, but I print my own shirts, silk screening. Have a 5-arm t-shirt press, and right behind me when I'm blowing glass. It's set up literally right behind me, and I just don't have it out accessible really. But we'll get that set up soon. So I'm trying to think of another experience. Oh, and then also another experience with this movie was they did a film scene where they had a helicopter flying over the crowd, and there wasn't a real helicopter flying over us because of the danger and this and that. So they had a crowd down there, right? And they had this guy with a really long stick, and something on this attached to the end of the stick. He's like, "All right, you guys, I want you guys to just follow what's on the end of the stick." And so that was kind of how they got our eyes to go, "Oh," and we're looking up as the helicopter's flying over. And that scene, I'm actually like that, and you can see my spiky hair. And that scene is actually forever ingrained as the cover to the movie. So if you get the CD, if you get the DVD, I mean, of the movie, you will actually be able to see me on the back cover of it, and we're all looking up. There's a big crowd of us, and we're all looking up, And for some reason, my child was actually edited out of the cover. But in the movie, you can see my child. But on the cover, they blurred it out. It was interesting. So that's my very first experiences in film, and being able to become a stand-in. There are so many different films that I've worked in since then. Actually, before that, there was one other film that I had worked on. Sorry, scratch that. There were two other films. So I guess since about 2000, I've been working in film. One of the first films I ever worked in was a film called Paris Je t'aime, which means Paris, I love you. Paris Je t'aime. And that was filmed with multiple directors filming like individual scenes or things of that film. And one of the scenes, I guess, was filmed here in a hospital in the heart hospital, or the Women's Loveless Hospital now, downtown off of what's that, Gold I think, or Dr. King, somewhere down there, and by like Elm Street or Edith, somewhere down there. But either way, they had like a whole entire floor that was empty, and they utilized that for filming this a few scenes. And I remember this was my first time being on set. I didn't really know what to expect. I just remember sitting around with a bunch of strangers, and kind of having a few conversations here and there, but I didn't really know. Like I was so nervous, and like I didn't know what to do and if I should speak or not speak. And so that was such a strange experience. And then we were in a dark hospital floor, which was really creepy, and we would just be sitting in these empty rooms waiting for them to film these things. And it seemed like it was kind of low budget. I don't remember much. Maybe we had pizza and water catered to us. There are some films where you'll get like a smorgasbord of prime rib, steaks, lobster, all these things, and then there's some places where all you get water and pizza. It's either low budget, no budget, or you got big budget. And so that was an interesting experience. And the only time that I was ever really on set or on film was they're like, okay, we're gonna have you drink from the water fountain, take a sip, and then just casually walk out the door and around this way. I'm like, okay. So I do that. And, I don't know what to expect for the first time being a background extra actor. I'm thinking, okay, cool. Here's my scene. I'm gonna drink the water as good as I can because I'm on film. It's like, so you're trying to be a professional water drinker, press the button professionally, lift your head up all stoically, and then walk out, right? Thinking you're going to be in the movie or anything like that. And you go watch the movie and you don't even see the scene at all. I don't even know if that hospital scene was even in the movie or whatever. But that was the first film ever called Paris Je t'aime. And Paris Je t'aime, I don't know how many different actors or whatever. We could look that one up as well. And I could show you what year that one came out, because then this will help me too with the timeline. So let's look up Paris Je t'aime. Oh, you know what? I didn't even see it. Huh. So yeah, so that movie doesn't even like make it on this IMDb. The IMDb that we're looking at here is the Internet Movie Database. Internet Movie Database, imdb.com. You can find a listing of most movies on here. And so yeah, that was one of the first films. The second film that I remember being in was called Not Forgotten. And that was a lot of fun. And so I don't want to get into all the different experiences here today, but I just wanted to share with you some of the first experiences of being on set there, and how it kind of all started, and with those first films, and then all these different films. Paris Je t'aime, Not Forgotten. This is with Matthew. Oh wait, who is this? With Simon Baker and Paz Vega. And this was based on some like dark magic kind of stuff going on, and something that he done that then came back to him. So yeah, so Not Forgotten, that was filmed in well, it was released in 2009. I Let me see if we can actually find the filming date for this. And it's rated R. There's a couple some violent scenes and nude scenes and stuff like that. This will be a fun story to share with my experience on set here, because there was a few things that had happened on set here that was pretty interesting. So in a Tex-Mex border town, a man and his wife must face their tortured past in order to save their kidnapped daughter. So yeah, this is a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, Not Forgotten. So then, after that, I used to have a list of all the movies I had ever worked on, and I don't know if I have that list anymore. Those movies, I might have it in a file here. Actually, let me pull up my files, and we'll see if I could actually find see if I have a library of films and movies I've worked on. Like, I think I did create a folder. And maybe not. Wow. Okay, so maybe I don't have, or maybe it's not in here. That's too bad. Maybe it's in websites and events. No. Okay, well, either way, I'm trying to remember like all the different movies that I've worked on. There was a commercial with a billiards, a cue, a pool stick, a pool cue stick, and it was called Liquid Wick Cues. And I got to be in that commercial. I didn't realize I was filming a commercial at the time. I just kind of walked up and tried out a cue stick, and apparently they were filming. Other movies that I've done. Oh man, trying to like think all the way back into the past and all the different movies I've done. Let me just start listing them. So there was a movie called Frank that I worked on recently. The latest movie that I had worked on was the Queen Latifah and Ludacris movie that recently came out, and then also was the Breaking Bad season 6, the episode with the two twins kicking down doors at the hotel room looking for the I forget what his name is. I don't know if his name was Tuco or if that was someone else. And then let's see. I never worked on Breaking Bad, just Better Call Saul. I was in Scorch Trials, the Maze Runner trilogy, and that one was a lot of fun. The longest time I think I've ever been on set was on Scorch Trials. I was like, 12 to 14 hours. Gosh, there's so many other movies. Oh, Steven Seagal's movie, Urban Justice. That one has a lot of cool experiences and stories to share. Uh, Trying to think what other movies. It's so crazy to like try to think back on all the movies you've worked on. There was the one, the color of money, and that one was an interesting movie recently. And I was in a quick short scene there. There was another movie that we had done that I don't even remember what it was called. where we did like some kind of a raid scene in a supermarket. What other movies? There's so many different movies that I've worked on. I've got at least 20 under my belt. Oh, Graves. I think it was either episode 1, episode 3, somewhere around there. And I actually had my laugh captured on film, on the camera, on the mic, and they used it in the episode. You can actually hear me laugh. I don't know if that's my laugh, but that's it right there. But we were laughing at the guy. He comes out, hey, did you guys see anyone drive away in a white Prius? And he's got some stuff on his lips. Like, they're laughing at him. And so that was a cool experience, and got to do 2 days there where I was the only extra on set. And I was a featured background. That was really cool. I'm on the camera there. Most of the films that I've worked on and done, I'm not on film. Oh yeah, Finch with Tom Hanks. That was one of the biggest, longest films that we had done. I worked on it for like 5 days straight. And all the scenes that we had worked on were completely scratched out and edited out entirely. Also, there was a movie called or a movie or TV show called Stanistan, which it's not a real place. And I actually got to handle a goat and hold the goat on that one. That was interesting. Lots of stories to share and tell about that one. That one never got picked up, so you never will get to see some of these things that I did work on. Gosh, what other ones? What other ones? I can't really remember, but that's pretty much it, you know. But it's so cool to be able to like come in and watch some of these shows or movies and be able to see yourself in it, or see like watch. Let's actually see if I can find and prove to you that I'm in the film. Here, we'll go over here. We'll go to Spy School, because I know that they have it on YouTube. So you can actually watch Spy School for free on YouTube. Doubting Thomas, Spy School. Okay, here's a clipped version of all the different scenes, and I'll probably be able to find the scene pretty quickly here.
Agreement. We have... No, sir. I overheard him talking on his phone.
Actually, I think it was that one.
Agreement.
I'm just gonna try to like...
In a few... But I can't leave the house. No worries. Do you ever feel alone? I'd say up until 5 years ago, yeah. What happened 5 years ago?
Hold on a sec. It's gonna take me a moment.
Go. He's cooking coffee, a chemical weapon so deadly that it comes in contact any part of your skin, burns until you're nothing but bones. Reducing blood. So disturbed.
Yeah, so then he creates the science project gone bad. And then this is the scene where all the kids come running out, right? You got this blob coming out. And what's also interesting is all those lockers that are in the hallway, they aren't even really there in the school. Elementary school kids don't have lockers. There's Leah Thompson. So this is the scene here where all the kids are running out, and somewhere my kid is there, in there somewhere. You won't be able to see my child there.
over a week.
Yeah, so he got in trouble there, right? For doing that prank or whatever. Is that it?
For composition titled Saving the World 1 Minute at a Time.
Sorry, it's hard. It's not hard to find out.
I'll type up my resignation.
No, that won't be necessary, Mrs. Miller. Thomas, after all we've gone through, I trust you're wise enough to know the serious
Oh, where is it?
consequences you may face in the wake of...
Don't. Okay, go. He's currently concocting a chemical weapon.
I just want to show you my child here.
I know nothing. Up here, and nothing but storage space.
You've been in Principal Hampton's office lately.
Now that is an unfair question. He's always in Principal Hampton's office.
And have you noticed anything unusual, anything out of the ordinary?
Nice look, Hoffman.
No, I think it's like way, way earlier.
Grandmother was helping me with my homework. Bless her soul. When I pounced on it, I was telling her to guy. Unless the show goes to be a positive. All I know.
Alright, well, I don't know if I can find it, guys. There's a cafeteria scene I'm looking for specifically.
Okay, go. He's currently concocting a chemical weapon so deadly.
I thought it was right after they were running. They got in trouble.
What mistake?
Having your mom work for the man.
It causes the annoying complications, that's for sure.
Your dad in there too?
I don't know where it's at.
We agreed
Alright,
that
well,
you would stop lying and I would stop yelling.
You're yelling.
Yeah, well, how am I supposed to keep up my end of the bargain when you don't keep up yours? Thomas?
aha. There it is. Okay, so we're going to zoom in a little bit. So if you keep an eye to the kids over here, there's going to be one in right there in the purple bandana, and her best friend Emma right there. And this is Binkelman. This is a kid who was a student, and he actually ended up getting picked up as an actor for this movie. So you can see my daughter in that scene, and right there, they're both turning around looking. So that's my daughter now, son, I guess, identifies as Damien Sky instead of Luna Star. Or, sorry, instead of, oh my gosh, I always get my children confused. Instead of Kaya, Eugenie. So yeah, that's the scene right there that my child was in. You get to see my child in a couple of them scenes, turning around. And then, at the end of the movie, there's a helicopter scene here. So yeah, so the helicopter flies over the crowd, right? So here's my child right here again, right in the front. And I am right back here. So you can see me in the background. And I just have a goatee. I don't have my full beard or anything, and I'm really a lot chubbier. And that's the photo that's on the back cover of the movie. So I'm forever embedded on the cover of this movie. So there I am right there. And there's my child, my daughter, Kaya Eugenie, with beautiful long hair. And there's the necklace that I'm wearing that Leah Thompson had seen. And there's Leah Thompson right there in the crowd right there. So there's proof of me being in the film right there. So yeah, so that's it. And then also with us, with my child in this movie. So that was our very first experience being in the film together. And then in the movie Frank, that was our last experience being in a film together. We had worked together on that film. So it's really cool to be able to see these things and to be able to share these different stories of how I worked in film and all the different cool things, and meeting actors and actresses on set and all these other different individuals, and just so much stuff that happens in life. It's so cool that I've been able to experience this because of my glass blowing, because of my art, and just my choice of lifestyle. So I will share with you a lot more stories of these movies. I'm going to try to go in sequential order, but if I can remember when they were all filmed and when we filmed them and which ones I even worked on. There's films that I'm like, what? I don't even remember. I don't remember which ones I'm not remembering, right? But there are so many, and I wish that I had that list still of all the movies I had worked on. I will see if I have a file somewhere that shows all the different titles, because I thought I shared them somewhere. Maybe it's in my Facebook. Maybe it's on a Facebook folder or something like that. But thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I'm just going to keep this to 1 hour, real quick and short. That's quick and short for me, Dan the Glass Man. You're watching The Glass Man's World. Be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to hear some more stories. I've got some really, really cool stories to share with you on being on set, being on film, the different things that we've had to experience. Why I haven't been in film in the last 3 years because of all of the mandates and everything. And now, starting out this video talking about what had gone on with Jamie Foxx, it's really sad that a lot of these individuals have been forced to getting this in order to continue working in Hollywood. Even musicians and people like that, a lot of individuals were forced. Eric Clapton got injured. There's so many individuals, and let's not get into that. Let's just keep it with the film and stuff here. But I do want to send my blessings out to Jamie Foxx and all the others, anyone else, whether you're a celebrity or not. And just want to send you my love and my blessings to all of you, and hope that we can all get through this together. And in doing so, I'm just gonna share my experiences here and talk about things that pertain to the Glass Man's world, my little bubble right here. So this is all for my own entertainment purposes and my own enjoyment, and I hope that entertains you and that you enjoyed it as well. All right, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. I'm Dan the Glass Man. This is the Glass Man's World. All right, stay tuned for the next episode on behind the scenes on set. I believe I'll talk about maybe we'll get into to Not Forgotten. That'll be the next film that we'll talk about. Really amazing. 3 different scenes that I'm in that I'm actually on camera, but all in the same scene. I'll tell you how that worked. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Love and blessings, you guys. Peace.